What's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. This time I'm here with Danny Lose. I mean Danny Win. We're here to go over the deck he played at the Pro Play Tour Atlantic City Games, and he got top 32, right, Danny?
Yeah, 28th.
28th, right under me, just like how it should be, right? Alright, so this is actually really cool because this is the Mighty Hirudegarn deck that me and Larry played at Connecticut. Larry did play it at the Pro Play Tour Atlantic City Games, but he didn't do so hot. I mean, we had a rough night the night before because we really didn't get a lot of sleep, and he ran into some tough matchups. But we tried to put Danny on this deck a while ago, and he wasn't having it. And I'll give him the benefit of
backstory.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. The old build was just not there yet. Like, it wasn't ready to go. But yeah, talk about that. You talk about it a little bit. Why did you decide to like hop on this deck?
Yeah, well, yeah, the first version you gave me, like, the idea is there, but like the deck was really fragile. So like I think at the beginning you had 2 digging deeps or something like that, or almost none actually. And
yeah,
no Cabbas before too. So.
Starting out, we weren't playing Cabba, we weren't playing Hit. So yeah, there were definitely some better additions to the deck later on. Yeah,
and I tested it out a little bit. You know, you play Gotenks. Union Fusion for Gotenks is strong, but like there needs to be more to the deck. And you know, after seeing Larry do all right, I gave it a chance. I mean, you guys technically both beat me that day. True. That sucked.
We did both beat you in Swiss and Connecticut. That is true.
Yeah, but best of one, whatever. But,
yeah, whatever.
But like I saw the changes you guys made a huge difference in the deck. So I tested a couple games with it and actually won against Shenron mostly, which is not enough testing, but it did well in testing. So I gave it a chance and fixed up the deck with what you guys gave me.
Yeah, so you got a couple cards difference between like what Larry played and what I would have played, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Overall, like, are you happy you went with this deck, and how did it perform for you over the weekend?
Yeah, the deck, I learned quickly that it is really, really difficult to play.
Yeah.
And like if you're playing matchups like Shenron, the meta, the like most common decks, say Shenron and Storm, your play lines are much more basic. But like if you start playing against rogue decks or like lower, I wouldn't say lower tier, but like just not represented as much, like say droids, or like there's some Shenron variants that can do well too.
Right, like Shenron Boo, or like Shenron at all cost, yeah. Or
some of them, they play a little more defensive, or they have like maybe slightly early pressure that disrupts you. Plus the Borgos and the 2-drop Goku actually does slow down this deck a lot too. So
yeah, I don't know if I would say 2-drop Goku as much, but the Borgos can be a pain. So let's hop into the main deck and talk about it a little bit. I mean, everyone knows what the Hirudegarn leader does at this point. It's the best blue aggro leader. You have access to Hoi, and you cycle out your hand. It gets really crazy. So 3 Mass Saiyan in the main deck. So if I was going to play this deck, I would have played 3 Mass Saiyan and 1 Fu. And Larry, I think, ended up playing 2 Scientist Fu and 2 Mass Saiyan. So I definitely agree with 3 Mass Saiyan, but did you ever miss like Scientist Fu at all?
Not at all, really. Like maybe once where they, for some reason, your opponent just didn't play any battle cards for you to Mass Saiyan, but nowadays that's just not normal because everyone's just playing Borgos or just random 1-drops,
right?
That you could remove. So Mass Saiyan is just nuts in that way, and I knew that. Like, of course, Borgos slows us down, so that was like the main reason why I did the 3 Mass Saiyan to kill Borgos. Yeah, when you're about to go off.
Yeah, definitely. Like, the Borgos does slow this deck down a little bit, but yeah, you have a 3-of answer that's pretty easily gotten to. There's actually another answer in the deck, which we'll get to right now. So the Ki Barrage on Goten at 2 and the Family Justice at 1. So we weren't really playing the Family Justice before, but because of Borgos, we wanted it in the deck. So how did Family Justice do for you all day?
It did well. It was like Mass Saiyan did the job like really well. It was just nice to have
the searchable answer, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there was one time where I when you side deck, sometimes you side out the mass Saiyans and you heavily rely on the Goten, and it ended up being my life that one time that happened.
Dang.
So that was really annoying, but yeah, it's a great card in many ways too. Like when you're playing Storm, say you don't have enough overwhelm for mass Saiyan yet, you just swing and then go 10-1 like and kill whatever, and just pass turn after that, and it worked really great in that way.
Yeah, it's pretty OP that it also clears Purungas too. It's pretty OP.
Yeah.
So we got the 4 Bean standard, 4-dimension magic standard, 3 Borgos. So this is actually a last-minute change, and you actually convinced Larry to go on this change as well. So did you just want this in for the Storm matchup? Because like playing the deck before Borgos came out, we pretty much tested and discovered it has a really good Storm matchup. Like it's pretty much 50-50, maybe like 60-40. So did you feel like Borgos was super necessary?
I did like Borgos a lot because, say you're going first and you can't swing with Cabba if you're going first. So playing Borgos turn 1 gives you a turn 1 play, and if it just sits there, you don't have to do anything, and you're disrupting your opponent in like a lot of ways, like all like Storm, Shenron, opposing Hirudegarn decks are trying to untap aggressively.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it's definitely a good card for the format for sure. Even those Gogeta boss monster decks like out of cost wants to untap energy, things like that. Then we have the 1 Key Barrage Trunks and the 4 Unyielding. So did you ever get any additional usage out of Key Barrage Trunks? Because like me and Larry use it sometimes to like answer a Bardock Monkey or like a Cell Chain. So you ever use it offensively?
Yeah. One time I actually baited my opponent to body change Ginyu, my Digging Deep. And then, so he gave me the Ginyu, and on my turn, I awoken. I was at 5 life. I awokened and bounced the Digging Deep back to my own hand. So that was pretty nuts.
That's pretty OP.
But I think just the fact that it's there, and Cell Chain can be strong against this deck, so it's actually, 2 energy is a lot, but Awakening is also important. So it actually, when you need it, it was there.
Right, helps yourself awaken and can answer things, has some added utility. So that's probably going to bump up to like a 3 or 4 with the new limit of Unyielding Spirit Trunks. So of course this card's busted, but do you think you'll ever play this deck again with Unyielding going to 1?
I don't think so.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah, like for one, the Key Barrage, I also liked it for fusing with Gotenks.
Yeah.
Because it felt bad sometimes using it fusion material with like Unyielding.
Yep.
For the Gotenks. So I actually added Key Barrage most of the time first.
Right.
And with just like, I'll draw into my Unyieldings. But no, definitely the strongest point of this deck is it's like turn 3 and turn 4, just how much you can go aggressive. Yeah. And Unyielding's everything, really.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be rough with that card being gone, but I know Larry's already looking into some ways to adjust the deck, but we'll talk more about that later. So, 4 Hoi, best super combo in the game, arguably, and the 4 Quick Thinking Gotenks. So this is basically what the entire deck is revolving around. So how did you feel about just like playing the deck, including this engine and stuff like that?
Yeah, it feels kind of nuts when you're drawing 3.
Right.
Like, that was like part of the reason why I had Key Barrage, and then I would just draw into Unyieldings or Beans, and you expected to see like most of your deck, or like most of the cards in your deck. So that was really nice.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, this deck like cycled through Hirudegarn, through Hoi, through Quick Thinking Gotenks. This deck probably and through Mighty Mask as well. This deck probably cycles through its deck more than almost any other deck in the game, which is really good, especially for just seeing the combo pieces you need to go aggressive. And then 3 Deadly Defender Vegeta. So like me and Larry play this deck very differently in the sense that he always goes to the Deadly Defender and just tries to play defense on it. I very rarely actually drop the Deadly Defender. So how do you play with it? Like, what do you use it for most of the time?
Yeah, I actually, like, from the tournament wise, Deadly Defender was relatively mediocre for me because I think I went for really aggressive plays. I tried my best to not let the Shenron player get to their 5th energy.
Right.
It just feels bad. Like, there's definitely, with 4D magics, you can definitely survive, and how much combo power you inherently have with Hoi. But I feel like I definitely would have cut Deadly Defender because it was like the freest energy or the freest pitch for Hirudegarn.
Right. Yeah, no, it does depend how you play. I mean, the cool thing is, like, if you do drop it and play defense on it, for one, you're not taking shots to the face, and for two, every turn you defend it, it is another 20k beater, which can gain value, but yeah, different play styles, just play the deck differently for sure.
Yeah, it definitely, it did come in. I did play it, you know, like here and there. It was like more last resort than anything. When you realize that you can't go aggressive enough on your opponent, then you pretty much have to play it.
Right.
Which is like a good backup plan. So, and it's good against the fair matchups. Like it's really good against Cell because they can't pop it and such.
Right.
So, yeah.
I love that. It's good against the fair matchups. That's hilarious. And then the 3 Cabba. So this is, we were really back and forth on even playing this card because of like Crisis Crusher, but we figured that most people will be playing the either the 2-drop Goku, which does stop this from attacking, but we figured most people would cut Crisis Crusher for Borgos. So how often did you like run into Crisis Crusher playing Saiyan Cabba, and how is Saiyan Cabba for you throughout the day?
Yeah, Crisis. A lot of people still play Crisis Crusher, but I also think like the Shenron decks are like really tight already.
Right.
So, me personally, I'd rather play Borgos over Crisis Crusher, but it definitely stops a Cabba, and I feel like I really want a Cabba at 4. Like,
wow.
When you guys first gave me the deck, when you had 2 Cabbas, I bumped it straight like to 3, and in another game, I'm like, oh, I want 4 of this card. And the only reason why I got cut is because we wanted to make room for the Borgos.
Right, and the nice thing is you do have the Mass Saiyan to answer Crisis Crusher and actually the searchable Family of Justice, so that can actually be pretty relevant. And then we have 4 Mighty Mask, the other heart and soul of the deck. So I got a question for you, because me and Larry were talking about this. We were talking about, against Shenron, dropping Mighty Mask on turn 2, attacking with it, and then not tagging it out. Did you do that, or did you just tag it out immediately?
I tagged it out immediately, but that actually does sound like a reasonable play.
Just for an extra swing, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But one thing though, when you activate Mighty Mass, you thin your deck, so you don't draw into those cards sometimes. So Mighty Mass, like keeping it there, will probably definitely increase your attack. So there's arguments for both sides.
For sure. Yeah.
But Cabba, speaking of which, like playing Cabba and it's staying on the board is huge.
Yeah.
Say you're going second, you swing into Shenron, they're gonna take it because the likelihood of them even having like sparking 5 with their super combo is low. So two Cabba swings is like actually nuts.
Yeah.
And you don't have to rely on digging deep. You can actually dig in deep to turn 3 and awaken, which that was like really like the most powerful part of Cabba, being able to cut life early.
Yeah, no, Cabba's like busted if your opponent doesn't drop the Crisis Crusher, but it really hurts if they drop the Crisis Crusher. Would you say that's accurate?
Yes, but if you're not playing Cabba in like turn 1, turn 2, the Crisis Crusher will be dead later on because of Mass Saiyan.
Right.
So Cabba just becomes a 1-drop double strike later in the game when you're trying to go for the kill.
A good finisher, yeah. And then 2 Hidden Power E Supreme Kai. So are you the type that doesn't forget to declare double strike?
Nah, I don't forget.
Nice.
I've heard so much stories, and I think everyone, like when at Nationals, when I heard all about that, it like haunted me because I didn't play it in my Shenron deck, but I don't know. I just remember inherently, I guess, just out of fear.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. And then we have 4 Digging Deep. So this is like a card like started off at 2 and then it got bumped up to 3 and eventually 4 because we just realized how good it was. And a lot of times this is actually like your game winner. Did you find that to be the case too?
Oh yeah, the Digging Deep is everything. Like those like fat swings, 2 swings for 20k is huge. And being able to fast awaken with a 2 life is like everything.
Yeah, and being able, that's one of the things about this deck, like we talked about a little bit. It rewards you really well for playing properly, and it punishes you really hard for playing improperly. So like, for example, one of the big plays in this deck is to like drop a Digging Deep, attack with it, make sure that you can awaken on that first swing so you can Sensu Bean it, so that your Sensu Bean becomes basically a 5k combo for 2 swings but only costing you 1 card. So yeah, like playing properly the resources in this deck is really, really important. And then we have the 2 Foreseeing Hit. So this was a card that I was trying to convince Larry for the longest time to play, and he did crack and he did play it, but he wasn't in love with it. So how'd you feel about Foreseeing Hit all day?
I wanted the 3rd one.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Against the fair matchups, even against Shenron, actually, like when it also becomes like next to Deadly Defender. I don't know. Foreseeing Hit is like so versatile. Like, say you end up not being able to pressure them enough, you're like, oh, I can untap a bunch of energy, but I don't think I can pressure them enough to kill them. So instead of going more aggressive with all those untaps, you say Digging Deep, Awaken, untap some more energy, and then you just play Hit afterwards. You make sure that they can't kill you the following turn, or like there's situations where you're going first, you heavily pressure them on turn 3 already, and when you enter your turn 4 or 5, you play the Hit, and that most of the time that's gonna secure the game, because Hit is just gross at, you see their hand, you know how much combo power, how many negates. It's
exactly
stupid.
Yeah, you get the info. It tells you how to play, and that's insane. And then 2 Unbreakable, you gotta kind of just play it to make use of Dimension Magic. So my list played 3, but was 2 fine all day?
I actually sided out against Shenron. I feel like it was really only good against Storm.
Just have more combo power.
Like I tried to be as efficient as possible with my energy. Like I wanted every single energy was important, because it was just more aggression you can put on them. Like I want to tap out and be as efficient as possible. So I took out Unbreakables a lot against Shenron, but it was good at red energy.
Great red energy. All right, so let's hop over to the side deck. So we got 3 Cronoas. Did you play against any Shugesh decks all day?
No, I did play against a Burly deck, but he didn't play Shugesh.
Gotcha, but you gotta respect it anyway.
Yeah.
And then 4 Force Ejection Mass Saiyan. So this card right here was the topic of a lot of yelling in our group chat. So how did this card perform for you all day? Did you ever do the goop play, as me and Larry call it? Did you ever do the play? You know what play we're talking about.
Once.
You did. You did.
First off, let's get the backstory on this. Okay.
Let's do it.
You guys present me. Okay, first you guys present me this main deck. Okay. I test it. I play it. I'm like, wow, this is good. Okay. And then Thursday night, right? Or no, Friday night, you guys tell me Force Ejection Mass Saiyan. I'm like, oh my god. And then you guys start mentioning skipping charges. I'm like, these guys are nuts. Okay. And my teammate Alex, he's like, these guys are nuts. Okay, so, and then, like, we talk about it. You guys explain, like the whole theory behind it. I'm like, all right. I mean, and then we talk about it, and like, you don't have to skip charge. You're gonna bring in the second game, and you're gonna be like, oh, they're gonna choose to go first, or you get to choose to make them go first. So you go second every time, so you don't have to skip any energy if they objection.
The only way you have to skip charge is if they don't objection.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So you guys start telling me all like the turns, how it turns out, how we're gonna be able to nuke 2 energy on turn 3 by hard playing 1, or unyielding, and then overwhelming 1.
Yep. And then push for 18 damage.
Yeah, and then that night before the event at like 11 o'clock, we asked you guys, oh, how much did you test this? And Larry says not even remotely. I kind of lost it. Okay.
Hey, I pulled it off once against a Shenron player. It was broken.
Larry said he didn't test it at all. So
I played it against one Shenron player.
Okay, once. You guys gave me this crazy theory with 0 testing. I was like, oh, maybe they tested this. I was like, oh, how did it work? How did it work out for you?
But on paper, it's perfect.
Okay. So yeah, I tested 2 games against Alex with a Shenron deck. It worked, and we were both like, wow, this is stupid. I can't believe it worked. So we brought it. Okay, and I played a total of 3 Shenron out of 8 rounds.
Yep.
2 of them, one was Jamal, your teammate, that knew about the deck, and the idea of Forced Ejection.
Rip the dream.
And the other one was my teammate, Cameron Wood, who also saw the entire deck list and the idea.
So that was not a saucy play then.
So it didn't. The only way if I wanted to try to do it to them, I would have to skip charge, and I didn't want to do that. They knew the entire deck, so they were able to play around it, and I ended up drawing against both of them, which sucked.
You
and then,
didn't stick to the game plan, Danny. You didn't stick to the game plan.
Yeah, skip charge. Yeah. I think Jamal actually chose to go first. The third game, I think. Or no, made me go first.
Nice.
Because of Forced Ejection. I actually ended up just siding it out. Like, I was just like, I can't do this. It's not going to work against him. He didn't objection. Okay, but the one time it did work, I played against the very last round. I played against Willie Newsom. And he didn't know about it. So game 2, I was actually able to do it, but he played objection game 1, but game 2 he didn't side out objection, but he didn't use objection because I think he was trying to play around Dende. He expected a lot of people probably sided in game 2.
Right.
So he didn't objection at all. But I was like, and I made him. Did I lose game 1? Yeah, I lost game 1, and I chose for him to go first. And then he obviously did an objection. I entered turn 2, or turn 3, I think. I forgot, but I just was like, okay, I'm gonna make the decision now. I'm gonna skip charge.
Nice.
And he was like, and I kind of like messed with him a little bit. I'm like, yeah, my hand's just nuts, dude. I can't charge. And he actually believed me. And then the following, which the bad part about it was that he actually gets one turn with the 4 energy, which can be bad because there's a lot of plays they can do with 4 energy. Like they can go G to 5. They can
double Shenron.
They can Shenron 4-drop, which is scary. But you kind of just chance it because he ended up playing it at all costs. But obviously you can't do much with it. But he could pressure my battle cards.
Right.
So I passed him my turn. I ended up doing it and blowing up his energy. And I ended up winning that game because he just fell like really far behind, and he couldn't do anything.
So moral of the story: the play is broken, and you should have done it all day long, huh?
I couldn't. I told you.
Yeah.
The 2 other Shenrons knew about it, which is ridiculous.
You could have done it. All you had to do was skip charge. Because what are they going to do?
Yeah,
if they don't charge the 5, they can't win the game.
Oh, and the funniest part was I asked the judge at the beginning of the day just to make sure. I'm like, I have the FAQ right here. The energy checks at the beginning of the turn. And Larry actually did it to someone, and the judge got called over. And then I did it to Willie, and the judge got called over too.
Yeah, no, it's a weird ruling, but we made sure it worked that way. So basically, moral of the story is, I think Forced Ejection Mass Saiyan is way better in any deck that doesn't rely on sparking than Dende. Dende is just a tap 3 energy to really do nothing, because you set yourself back a turn at the same point you're setting your opponent back a turn. You know, like you didn't really do anything meaningful by tapping 3 energy, just play a Dende. So any deck that can play Overwhelms or that can play Forced Ejection Mass Saiyan, I would strongly recommend they play the Mass Saiyan. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, there's like a lot of theory and nuances to this whole like strategy that we tried. Like there's so much going on because like Willie actually ended up making me go first game 3 because he didn't want that to happen again. And if I wanted to hit him with it, I would have to skip 2 charges, and that just I don't want to do that. That's kind of nuts.
You gotta be more brave, Danny. It's surefire. It
doesn't work.
I mean, it works according to the rules. You just have to just open 2 Mass Saiyans.
Yeah. So, for one thing, like if you end up going first, usually you should win most of the time anyways, because you have the energy to go aggressive on them anyways. So like that, there's just so much behind it. And then your opponent, if they're trying to play around it, like making you go first, there's so much going on there. But it is great that it can play around if they don't objection, which is good.
Just gotta skip charge. All right, so we spent like 20 minutes talking about that card. Let's move on to Dimensional Banisher Fu. So this is like a 1 of in the side deck. What did you want it in against, and why only 1 copy of it?
Just Cell Chain, but it also came in just for another double strike Overwhelm, really.
Gotcha, for where you wanted some more pressure. And then 2 group leader peel off. Believe it or not, Larry actually sided 4 of these. Larry sided 4 of these, so his side in against Shenron was 4 forced ejection and 4 peel off. So how was 2? Because he was super scared of that matchup. But how was 2 for you all day?
I actually didn't bring it in at all against Shenron. The night before, when I was thinking about it, I didn't want to bank on them being able to kill me. I just decided that it's better for me to just focus on killing them. If peel off's in my hand, it's gonna be a dead card. So I was just like, no, we don't bring it in against peel off. I think you'd bring it in against I just worded that wrong, but don't bring in peel off against Shenron. But you can bring it in against like Broly or like some of the other decks that are trying to triple strike.
Yep.
But yeah, I didn't bring it against Shenron.
Nice, gotcha. And I'm surprised you sideboarded the Striving Goku. Why did you side it just for Storm? And did you feel like you really needed it all day?
I think so. So I don't think the deck actually has that much good matchup against Storm. Like I feel like a really good Storm player can play around it. Plus, as you saw in this tournament, there's a lot of hate against this card as well. So,
yep.
But it is very powerful if you can keep it on the board. If you can play 2, it's probably over because they can't deal with both of them.
That's true. Yeah,
so it actually worked out.
Yeah, no, I did main deck the Biding His Time in my Broly deck, so I definitely understand that it's a good card and you want to have answers to it, but if you can't answer it, it's going to be a rough time. And then to wrap it up, the 2 Planet M2. So this is actually an interesting pick that me and Larry, neither of us played or would have played. So what did you want this card in against?
So I brought it in every single game.
Really?
Planet M2, every single game, yes. Because for one, when you're siding out Mass Saiyans, you're lowering the amount of cards that will deal with Borgos. So I was like, okay, if I take out Mass Saiyans, I have 1 card, and 2 cards in my deck technically. The Ki Barrage Trunks and the Sun Goten Family Justice. That is way too few to like. You have to deal with the Borgos because if they have it, you're not gonna be able to kill them fast enough because you won't be able to extend your turns with untaps.
Right.
Plus it kills Crisis Crusher, so it was just kind of nuts. I played one Janemba and it pretty much was ridiculous against them because it was just you put their leader down as well on your swings.
Right, yeah, it's a great card. It's a great card. I might have even played one in the deck if I like went back and looked at it now. But yeah, it's a free 5k combo every single turn, so for sure. But that's the entire deck. Is there anything you want to mention about the deck with final thoughts or anything like that?
Yeah, this deck was really difficult to play. My teammate Alex, he probably shouldn't have played it, but he trusted me, and I feel like if I just played a little better, I would have ended up getting top 16 because I ended 4-0-4.
A little better or a little faster?
A little bit of both. Like I would because there's you play the deck, you have like 10 to 12 cards in hand,
yep.
And the amount of the lines of play you can make is just like ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Like, there's so much you could do, and like against different matchups you have to play completely differently or else you just lose. So yeah,
for sure. Sweet. So any final shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, shout out to Larry for making this ridiculous the goo. Shout out to my teammate Alex for working on it with me and practicing and stuff. Shout out to Joey. Shout out to my team T4T Majin Masters.
Are you guys still even the Majin Masters?
I don't know.
Well, on that note, we're going to bring this video to an end. Thank you guys so much for watching. Any questions about the deck, leave it in the comments below. Me and I'll make Danny come check this video every so often so that he can answer questions. And we'll see you guys next time. Hey, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Thanks for watching that video. If you'd be so kind to drop a sub, maybe check out some of our videos. If the end card is even there, the hardest part of doing YouTube is not the editing, it's not the videos, it's not the content creation, it's that YouTube just doesn't want to work sometimes. So hopefully that stuff is there. You guys are awesome. I'll see you in the next one.